Hello, everyone. I think that last video of mine was heinous. I know I wasn't going to upload it, but it explained my thoughts on... And I mean, I realize those are gifts of those other channels. I guess it was just aggravating me. And it's not even in particularly a channel. And you know, the crazy thing about what I was doing was that I always hated it when pastors did such things. Like every now and then you may hear a pastor say, oh, well, everybody is saying, like whether they're referring to other pastors or congregations, and they'll say things like, I hate it when everybody is da-da-da. And every time I've heard a pastor say stuff like that, I'm thinking, I haven't heard everybody saying that. It was almost like it was a prelude to, oh, well, I just want to say that prelude so that what I'm about to say is correct. You know what I mean? When no one is even saying it incorrectly that I've heard. That, not that I constantly listen to preachers or anything, but I mean, I have, but I mean, not like 24/7 is what I mean. Meaning, you know, yeah, I have always had the TV on, but it's not like they're playing preachers 24/7 or the radio, Christian radio. So I just felt like that's what I was doing. It's not like I've necessarily, and I was being very vague. You know, no one says just believe. So that was heinous. That's very, but hey, thank you, Lord, for forgiveness. Please forgive me, because we all do stupid things, right? So what I wanted to, I'll share a verse, which I like. Ephesians 4, and I'm going to read this NIV because it explains it. So 4 chapter 8, and you can read the previous, but it says, this is why, oh, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Resurrection Day. I know some of us still say Easter, but I don't like that. I want to break that habit. I mean, but even we also are using the pagan months like Nisan. So God's months were month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, 5. Same thing with the days of the week. Day number 1, 2, 3. That's God's real calendar. So yeah, we don't want to say our month, and we'll go by the Jewish months. But those Jewish months, their names were given by the pagans that overruled them, because before they were overruled and overrun and they started grasping some of the pagan stuff, they did do month 1, month 2. So yeah. But anyway, we're just because we don't say things right like that all the time doesn't mean we're disgusting heretics or something. So it says, Ephesians 4 verse 8, this is why it says, when he ascended on high, he led captives in his train and gave gifts to men. Isn't that awesome? When he ascended, after he walked the earth, after he rose from the dead, he walked the earth for 40 days, and then he ascended, and they watched. And the angels told them, why do you stand gazing here? In the same like manner, you will see him come back. And that's what we're waiting on. But here it's explaining, okay, it says here in Psalm 68, I didn't read that part. Psalm 68, I think that's the psalm where the Jews really revere that psalm. And that is, I think that's the psalm. It is the hardest to understand from what I've read. commentaries about. And it is a very cool psalm. If you read it in another translation, like I do like that. They don't call it a translation even. It's called the, it's not even contemporary English version. It's another version that is sort of like, I don't know, but I like it. And I like the way they have read it or translated it. But it does say in Psalm 68:18, God is pictured as a conqueror marching to the gates and taking tribute from the fallen city. Whatever really that means, but okay. Paul uses that picture to teach that Christ, in his crucifixion and resurrection, was victorious over Satan. When Christ ascended to heaven, he gave gifts to the church, some of which Paul discusses in chapter 4, 11 through verse 11 through 13. Well, so blessed be the reading of his word. And what I wanted to go back to another subject of being famous. Okay, like whether you don't have a I'm not talking about channels. I'm talking about in life. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Baba. Baba, you ate it. He eats his choo-choos just to keep the cat from... This cat loves staring at him. And then he'll get mad and he'll just go ahead and gobble it down just so that she won't get it. Okay, so... And that's why he's Tubbs. Tubba Bubba. But I'm not giving you another one. No, Bob. So in life, we may not feel like we have a, say, good genealogy. Oh, we don't come from anybody big. What is it? What do we have heritage-wise? I'm a nobody. I'm a this, I'm a that. Well, you're not. And Dad, honey. So, because I'm going to give you an example. Somebody extremely famous is a sports person, is distantly related to me. I'm not related to him, but a cousin of mine is. I'll kind of describe that, how that works. But anyway, but see, and look, I've told you about my relatives, the gospel singers, the Hoppers, and they are on my dad's side, which I didn't know my dad very well enough. And, in his big family of 11, it's not like my uncles and aunts knew all of their nieces and nephews, but they did know my mother. We were all born in North Carolina. And I think on Hopper Road, that still exists, they would, through the generations, fight over, is it Tucker Road or is it Hopper Road this year? That's it. Now I think they just stuck with Hopper Road, but we weren't necessarily born in that town, all of us. But all 5 of us were born around in the area. Just a minute. Here, Bobs. So we were all born in the area of that area and Madison. So they all knew my mother, and Daddy's 3 sisters were flat as a board, and none of them could have kids. I think only one had 1 child, and the other one adopted a couple of children, and the other one never had anything. I mean, no adoption, no nothing. But they all knew of Mommy, and she was always pregnant, always had they would make like kind of rude comments, like she always had a kid on her breast, and she didn't even breastfeed all of us. So, I think they were kind of jealous. And then North Carolina really wasn't where she's from. She's from Oklahoma. And that's where my dad was stationed, and they met, and then they moved back to his area, which is North Carolina. So anyway, so the Hoppers, they're famous gospel singers, but I don't know them very well. And then I want to go on the other end of the spectrum where you're not famous, but you are very productive, if you've had a child or not, everybody is valuable. So I have a niece. My brother, the one whose wife left him in 08, the divorce was final, which didn't have to happen, because before it was final, I told my brother. I had gone over there, and because she had left just without a notice or anything, and took some things and whatever. So he was very distraught. And I would go over there because she left one of the children, their firstborn son, who was probably 13, or because he was so much like his dad, where they were very oppressive to the women and about the women. So he was getting that way. My brother was getting that way. He didn't start off that way. So she left, and she took the two girls, and the littlest boy. And so my brother was distraught, and I went to go over there once a week, and I would make them food for the whole week and put them in little containers, and they could just grab them out of the fridge and, have them for the week. And I'd grocery shop and stuff. So, yeah, I ran into him one day, and he was talking, kind of lamenting, and he was confessing some things, like people can do when they're wrong. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have this. And he would talk about certain things he did or said or didn't do or say in their past, in their marriage. How he might have been hard on her, how he didn't show her enough attention or whatever. And I said, well, Bill, you're telling me this. His name is Bill. I said, you're telling me this. Why don't you tell her? He's like, no. He's just kind of sitting there dazed and stunned, and no. I said, Bill, I've been there. I know how she feels. She can't stand the sound of your voice. She can't stand the sight of your face. She would be totally tickled if she never saw or heard you again. I understand her pain. I said, but you're sorry. I said, she doesn't care. It's too late in her mind and in her heart. She doesn't care that you're sorry. But I said, I tell you what, if you call her every day, however many times a day, whether she picks up the phone or not, you leave her a message. Every single thing that comes to your mind every day, like you're telling me these things, you leave her a message and say, Sarah, her name's Sarah. Sarah, I'm sorry about this. I remember this. It was wrong. I'm sorry. Click. Okay, this is before August 8, 08. I told him this in, I think, 06 or 07. And then I said, just do that. You're going to break her down. She's going to break down. She will come back. She will come back. And the divorce wasn't final yet. I don't even know if she filed by then. She was just gone. She left, and he didn't know where she was or anything, or the kids. So, you know what he said? Get this. This is how proud some Christians can be. Christians. He said, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's all he said. I said, why? Why can't you do that? He said, I just can't do that. And I knew from experience that I know why you can't do that. It's pride. And if you admit it, then that means that everything you did back then that you're apologizing for, it means that you already knew you were wrong. You already knew you were wrong, but you were getting away with it, and you did it. And way, she was, and how he was over her like that, oppressive, she wasn't going to ever talk back, right? Because she was going along with him. She was going along with him until it just got too crazy. And then, so she was being submissive. So he didn't ever do that, and the divorce became final. Then he calls back 2 years later, Cece, I'm ready to apologize to Sarah. And I'm like, are you kidding me, Bill? You're ready? You're ready? Oh, you're over yourself and your pride. It's not going to be so painful right now because it's been 2 years. And I think, to this day, he still wears a wedding ring. Because in legalism, somewhere in the Old Testament, he feels like the divorce was never, it's just the world says they're divorced. But in God's eyes, they're not divorced. Anyway, I don't know what he's doing today, but what happened here, this is like not so famous people, but they are my niece, one of his daughters, the younger daughter. She is like one in, I don't know the statistics. I think I Googled it once. But at 15 years old, so they lived with the mother. She went ahead and put him in public school. And they were, maybe before junior high or right at junior high. And so anyway, at 15, she went to a party and she got pregnant. Okay? She got pregnant. She was a virgin. First, it was a one-night stand. 15. And so my brother, who kept in touch with them by then, he knew about it. So he went to the guy and the guy's family. And he really impressed upon them that they need to get married. Okay? Because that's what he, and maybe that's an okay thing. Okay? So that is, because they did get married. And they stayed married for a long time. And they have gotten divorced. I can't remember. It hasn't been that long ago. But she was pregnant at 15 with twins. They were boys. I don't know or remember if they were identical or not. So then they're married now. And then they get pregnant again. Maybe a couple years later. Again, twins. They're girls. Twin girls. Come on. You Google that. Statistically, your first pregnancy and then your second pregnancy are both twins? No. So we're saying then maybe a year or two later, they have another pregnancy and it's a boy. Just a single boy. And so by what would that be? 8, 19, 20, she's got 5 kids. And then they're still married. And, but anyway, that is an example of an incredible miracle of a woman, a human being, having 2 sets of twins, first 2 pregnancies, and 5 kids at under age 20. All right, and she's a great mom, and she is I think she had a blog thing. Her name is Emily, if you ever want to see if you can find her, but, and she was being a Christian, but unlike the way her dad was, And in fact, the guy she married, they kind of look alike. I mean, she's like dark-headed, but he's red-headed, but they kind of look alike. But anyway, yeah, she did that kind of a post type blog thing. I haven't, and I'm not on Facebook anymore. I deleted my Facebook because, and there is a video I want on my Facebook, but I don't know how to get it because I don't know how to get on Facebook. I asked my ex when he was here, I'm like, are you on my Facebook? And he's like, no, not anymore. And I'm like, darn, I said I'd like to get my Facebook back because there's a, when I was sharing those three-hour videos, talking about the Catholic Church a little bit. Well, on my Facebook, if anybody sees mine, I have 4 Shih Tzus. It's like a family portrait of 4 Shih Tzus, Crystal Hopper. So that's my Facebook, and I had a video, and nobody was listening to me anyway. I mean, nobody listens to me now. Not on my sister's group text, not on here, not anywhere. So I don't care. I'm fine with that. But I didn't need it, and I would just share stuff. But there's a video on there about it's showing the Catholic Church and their big choir, and it's giving the words translated from Latin, that they are venerating Satan, Lucifer, whichever word they're using. I think it's Lucifer. And it just tied in with those other videos for 3 hours. So, yes. Some people, they live very obscure lives, but your life is important. Your life is very serious to God. You don't have to have some pedigree, whatever. Like, look at me. You know, I've got like some famous relatives, but I don't know them. I don't know. I know of them, but I've met them, you know, but and they're cool. They're down to earth. But I mean, I'm not going to, have any ill will against them or my dad, just because, oh, well, my dad, you knew what my dad did to my mother, left her and took everything in the house and left her with nothing, kept taking her to court to lower the child support and until it was nothing. But whatever, God has a purpose for all of that. So yeah, one of my dad's brothers married a Canadian woman. So the sports star is from Canada. So he married a Canadian woman, and my dad even thinks they named their child after him. My dad is Wayne because, Bill Wayne, because Daddy said he used to drive the car alongside the dad while he would jog. So when they had their baby, they named their baby after my dad, Wayne. But yeah, one of his brothers, so it's my blood uncle, but not my blood aunt. And I don't remember all their names, so I think her name is Aunt Virginia, actually. So yeah, Aunt Virginia has a sister. I don't know what her name is, but she's the one. Okay, so it's Wayne Gretzky. So Aunt Virginia and Uncle whoever had, I don't know if they had more than, I think they had 2 children, but one of them his name is Kenny Hopper. And that's my cousin. And he flew for the Blue Angels. So you cannot, and that was in the 80s. So you cannot fly for the Blue Angels for more than 4 years. But yeah, my sister Libby would go, to some of his air shows. And she didn't really know him either. Also, I mean, I think I've been to one of them, but it's too hot. I didn't go to them. And then, like I said, I think that was in the 80s that he flew for the Blue Angels. So his mom and dad are Aunt Virginia and Uncle whoever. My blood uncle, but not my blood aunt. So Aunt Virginia's sister is Wayne Gretzky's mother. So see, my cousin Kenny, who flew for the Blue Angels, Aunt Virginia's his mother, so Aunt Virginia's sister's children are his cousins. So my cousin Kenny is cousins with Wayne Gretzky. And they were close, even though they were in Canada. So I guess my Aunt Virginia's sister and husband, Wayne Gretzky's parents, would visit Aunt Virginia in North Carolina. And Daddy said he would drive the car alongside Wayne Gretzky's dad. And so they named him Wayne. Now, I don't know where my dad is in the ladder of the 11 children. And I know he's going to be 86 this month. And I don't know how old Wayne Gretzky's dad and Wayne Gretzky are. But I don't even know if that's the age thing. I haven't ever calculated that. So, yeah. And then during Desert Storm in the 90s, so when you retire from the Blue Angels, you're so skilled and everything. So he was fueling in Desert Storm, and this is before Wayne Gretzky retired. My cousin Kenny was fueling airplanes or something like that in the sky, because it's very hard to do. So yeah, he was doing that. And he's done various other things, since then. But in Desert Storm, that's what he was doing. So Wayne Gretzky, when he would play a game, on his hockey jersey, he would have KH for Kenny Hopper in support of his cousin Kenny, who's my cousin. Also, when he got married to Janet Jones, I always watched Joni Greggins. I had her tapes. I loved Joni Greggins, but I had heard back then when I was younger, when I was doing aerobics, I had heard of Janet Jones, but because she was into calisthenics, and that's very healthy for you. Low impact, stretching, yet you aren't bouncing and damaging. But anyway, she was very big. Plus, she was an actress as well. Maybe she was getting out of the... So anyway, he and she got married in Canada. And my dad said he flew all the Hoppers to Canada for the wedding. And I don't know, Daddy was still raising some kids, were still around, so I don't guess he went, but I don't even know if he was invited. Well, if they named Wayne after him, wouldn't he be invited, right? But of course, but I'm saying, like, he said all the Hoppers, so I don't know what all the Hoppers mean, like, some were still to this day, I think, have kept the tobacco farming alive, because that's what Daddy's parents, my grandparents, that's what they did for a living when they moved here from Ireland, is tobacco farming over there, and that's where most cigarettes are from, is North Carolina. Anyway, so my point is whether you have some famous people in your history or in your family lineage, actually we all do anyway, because we're all from Noah, Adam, Abraham. I'm just, you really need to make sure your identity is in Christ alone, okay? Because you may even have famous relatives and you are close to them, and you may not even realize that your identity might be in them. Like, what if they ever disparaged you and disowned you? Would that devastate you, because now you're no longer connected with this famous, relative kind of thing? And if you're just some broke, poor, beat down, barely making it by mother of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, You are everything. You're all that. You are not a nobody. You're not a nothing. You're you're in Jesus Christ. Even if you're not in Jesus Christ, you're still something, because he loves you and wants you. He wants you. He died for you. He's a redeemer. He's going to redeem everything about you. Maybe not immediately, but as you read about him, he'll teach you how, show you how. His Holy Spirit will guide you. He's the Savior of the world. He owns the world. Why wouldn't you want him? Okay? You need to seek him out. And if you ever feel a little, if you don't even know who he is the creator of the world. He is the Son of the creator of the world. They're all three the same thing. The Holy Spirit, which he left us when he ascended back to the Father after he did his thing on earth to save us. He died, rose again 3 days later. So you can Google all this. This is the Savior of the world. He loves you. If you're ever wondering if there's a higher power, is there a God? Which one is it? Are there many gods? There are many gods, but they're really demons. So don't follow anything but Jesus Christ, and don't mix anything with Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is the only one that can fix everything for you in your life. And if he does not fix it right away, he'll give you peace while he chooses to fix what, when. And sometimes when he doesn't fix things right away, it is because he needs you to experience those things so that you will be able to help other people with the same things. Because we are all different, and we are different parts of the body that he sends us out to help other different parts of the body. I couldn't relate to somebody like maybe Mother Teresa could. Not that I'm just saying she's a real goody-goody, pure, perfect kind of Christian in the eyes of some. Now, I can't reach, some ex-convict can reach other ex-convicts because they can relate. I got a big horsefly in here. Because they can relate. So see, God has different types of testimonies, different types of trials and tribulations that people have been delivered from and that they go through. If you're suffering with something that he hasn't delivered you from in a long time, it's taken a long time to get deliverance from, it's usually because maybe 10 years from, you've been suffering 10 years waiting for deliverance. Well, in that 10th year, bam, there's somebody. Now they are ready. They need to hear your testimony. Or maybe they were in the same boat. They're like, well, I thought I was going to just give up because it hasn't been taken from me for 10 years. So I was just going to give up, turn my back on God. But if you had been delivered sooner, you would have never really been able to relate to that person. And now you can. And now you can tell them, no, you're not crazy. You're not broken. Jesus doesn't hate you. It was that way with me too. And through that, and those 10 years of struggling and battling and sticking with Christ, I learned a lot. And let me tell you all about it. So there's all different of us. We're all different so that we can reach the different parts of the body in different times of life. See, every day somebody is coming of age to understand about Jesus, and they're accepting him, whether they are a teenager or a young adult or a 5-year-old child. Right this very minute, they're coming to the age, the knowledge, whatever the age, that I'm tired of my life, or I'm tired of this, or maybe the child, 5 years old, is like, I want Jesus. Maybe it's a young adult, maybe, yeah. And today is the day of salvation for them. Today is the day that they're sick of it all. And they're wondering, is there a God out there who cares? Who are you? And then Jesus will come, or he'll send somebody, or God is a God of miracles, and miracles still happen today. And signs and wonders. And so, yes, we are waiting for the rapture, and it is any second now, this generation. And the 6,000 years a day. 1,000 years is as of a day. A day is like 1,000 years to God. And I know he created the world in 6 days. He didn't create the world in 6,000 years, no. But I know some believe. I was talking to my ex-brother-in-law, who's a Christian, and they go to church, and he's like, yeah, Jesus isn't coming. The world is millions of years old. And I'm like, have you not been to the Creation Museum? I don't know, y'all. But, yeah, they have a child. His wife had the child at 40, and he, I think, is like 10 years older than she is. He's now like 13 or something, and I was going to share a video. I haven't been able to talk to my ex right now because he's in Rome. He saw the Pope blessing everybody, and then now the Pope is dead. But I was going to ask him if I can I have his brother's phone number, but I don't want to text his brother out of the blue and say, hey, I got a video on what they're teaching your children in public schools, all these perverted books. Jack Hibbs had a guest on recently, and she's explaining all this. It's disgusting. So here he's telling me, well, he came to help my ex, his brother, do my chimney out there. And so I was asking him, so what do you think about the Jesus coming soon? And yeah, they think that their children have a future. Yeah, right. But anyway, where was I? He's a Christian, and so is his wife, and now they've moved to Georgia, so they're from Arizona, and his son goes to now the public school here, and his son is quiet, and not a crazy teenager, but they're going to teach him stuff. It's called required curriculum. So in your class where they give you, used to it would be stupid Shakespeare, maybe. Maybe Shakespeare isn't. I heard somebody once say that Shakespeare was actually like the Romeo and Juliet was about the Roman emperor. He had to secretly put it to a play because he was against the Roman emperor. I don't remember really or paid attention to what they were saying, but so why did I say that? But yeah, some of these Christians think there's time. Anyway, I guess that's all. My exhortation today would be, Jesus sees you. He sees you. You are a child of the King. The King. Don't even try to bother comparing yourself to what would be acceptable in this world and in this life and with these. Don't even compare yourself up against another Christian, because that Christian's life is for God's purpose, not for you to compare yourself up against. But now Paul does say, provoke to emulation, yes, but he's talking provoking you to emulate the love that person has for Jesus and, following Jesus. He's not wanting you to emulate, I got to be up here where they're going to be. No, you need to emulate following Jesus personally for yourself and see what his will is for you. Find out. It's very exciting, because his will for you is tailor-made. You don't want anybody else's, example. It's for their example is a testimony to you to get close, to see how close and follow Christ. And then whatever the timing is for your purpose for him, it could be when you're 35 or 85, or many times throughout your life. It's not a constant mountaintop. So yes, you emulate the ones that are, close to Jesus and following him. You're not trying to emulate, I'm going to do what they're doing. I'm going to be what they're being. But now if God put you in their life because you feel it in your spirit and in your heart from Jesus that, yes, I want you to kind of study them, because one of these days you will be kind of like this. I'm planting this seed, and also just because he's giving you knowledge through that. So the only provoking to emulation you need to be doing is that. Or how are they following him? And don't just pick and choose. I like this person because they're kind of following him and doing other things as well, and I like that version better. No, this is the version you go by. And then when there are people and Christian people that are doing this, emulate that. And then, you'll pray as usual and ask Jesus to guide you to your purpose for him, because we're not here for our own purpose. We're here for his purpose. But as humans, we do understand that we got to be human. Okay. I'm still working on the Lord's Prayer. I want to, find verses to pray with the prayer. And I still do pray it myself, but it's very choppy, and I don't have all the verses like written out, laid out. I would have to flip-flap around in my Bible. But anyway, yes, you guys, I just want to exhort you today that you are the apple of God's eye. He has you in the palm of his hand. He guides you with his eye. Yeah, the world wants to pervert the all-seeing eye. That's in Psalm. I think it's Psalm 132 or verse 8. And the world perverts it. They pervert the Star of David. They pervert the rainbow. They try to say this is originated from pagan. Oh, well, they're going to just try to pervert everything. Christians are saying that this originates from some kind of pagan. And it's nowhere in the Bible. And I say, well, if you can show me proof both sides, then I'll make a decision. But so far, all you're showing is proof that it's pagan. I ain't going to trust that garbage. I'm going to trust that the Jews wear it. That's really all the proof I need. And even if the Jews are wrong in wearing it, I don't care. They may not even know their own history about it, but they were branded with stars of David, this very star, since day one. And they've been wearing it. And I mean, whether they know the history or wherever that came from, it's like being baptized. You don't have to be, baptized to be saved. But if it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. I'm going to do it. I don't know if Jesus spoke in tongues. I don't think he did. But he was a healer. So we have the gift of healing if he has given that to us. And the other gifts, right? Okay, you can look those up. And Jesus spoke all languages. He's God. He's the Son of God. But as far as, that was a gift, like I just read in Ephesians 4, he, when he ascended on high, he led captives in his train and gave gifts to men. So, yes, I exhort you. You are owned, bought, and paid for by Jesus Christ. And he is the creator of the world, and so is your Father. They own everything. They own it all. They own all that money. They own all that fame. And, what you have is exactly what he wants you to have. Unless he wants you to read the Bible more, and he's calling you to, in the Bible, ask for more. Like the prayer of Jabez that people were going gaga over. Maybe he wants you to believe for more. It's a journey. It's a sanctification throughout your life. He's constantly going to be teaching you, because our minds are like little bitty ant brains that will never. That's why we always stay humble. Okay, God bless you guys, and have a blessed day in the Lord. Okay, bye.